All right, let's go. Welcome to the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. Shout out to all the undergrounders who are here with me tonight. Let's move over to this 4-hour chart where we've been starting off the show. How's everybody doing? Let's see if we can fix this camera, get it proper for once. Yes, I'm back with the glasses. What do we got going on here? Thanks to Melissa, who always puts all of the links for me. We got the Prime Minister in the house. Melissa with a super chat, $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Your support means the world to me. Greetings, everyone, with gratitude. I feel like July is flying by too. Yes, it's already the 7th, you know? Next thing you know, we're going to be 15 days in. Half the month will already be over. Time is flying. It is kind of nuts, if you ask me. And look at what we got going on here. We're holding, even though today has been a little bit of a red day, right? We'll move to the 1 hour. Take a look at it. Staying above that 200, right? The red line, it's your 200-day moving average. We had this little dip right there. And aside from that, you know, we are staying well above that. Now let's move back to the 4 hour because I can stay a little more zoomed out. Staying above that 4 hour 200 and, of course, even above the 21-day moving average there. You know, that is the lifer vision. That is the lifer sauce right there. See, can we put this in some kind of flag? Let's see. I believe the measure move should be something like that, a little more conservative. Saying something like maybe 65,800. What do you guys think of that? Put it in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking here. Cryptic Quentin in the house is finally here on time. How's it going, guys? Hope all is well. All is certainly well. Thank you for being here. Prime Minister, Cryptic Quentin, hopefully 007 Zoe, we get to see him. Maybe Blues guys show up. I am looking forward to today's stream. And now that I think everybody's here, welcome to Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show, the daily crypto live stream where we actually go deeper into topics that really raise your crypto IQ. I believe that. This week, our series, Onchain Market Wars. The big idea this week is that crypto is not just creating assets anymore. It's trying to rebuild markets those assets trade on, the rails, right? Last night we started with tokenized stocks, if anybody remembers. We talked about stocks moving on blockchain rails 24/7, trading, tokenized equities, and what users are actually holding. Tonight we're going to pivot into a topic that's way more explosive right now, way more popular, and that is prediction markets. Prediction markets turn future events into tradable contracts. Will a candidate win? Will a team win? Will Bitcoins hit a certain price? Will Feds, not FUDs, even though it feels like FUDs, will Feds cut rates? Will a company launch a product? Will AI hit a milestone? And you could go on and on of all the different things that are traded. Will it rain today at 4 o'clock? You know what I mean? Prediction markets. Quote of the day: prediction is very difficult, especially if it's about the future. This is commonly attributed to Niels Bohr. Hopefully I said his name right. And then, of course, the what you may not know section of the night that we really kick off the stream with. You may not know this, but we're about to tell you. Prediction markets are becoming one of the fastest growing areas connected to the crypto market structure. CoinDesk reported that prediction market trading volume surged more than 300% in 2025 to $63 billion, and that Hyperliquid has been preparing outcome token infrastructure to compete with incumbents like Kalshi and Polymarket. Those two you should be certainly familiar with in the prediction market space. And this is also becoming a legal and political fight, hence why the series is called On-Chain Wars, right? Reuters reported that the CFTC has been moving towards new rules for prediction markets as lawmakers push for tougher regulation and restrictions on certain event contracts. And today, Axios reported that North Carolina proposed state budgets includes a provision that would make it the first U.S. state to authorize CFTC regulated prediction markets with, guess this, revenue taxed starting in 2027 if enacted. Yes, you can have your whatever as long as we can tax you. That's pretty much the motto of, both states and federal. That is why this is not just a crypto niche anymore. Prediction markets are turning into a fight over finance, gambling, laws, even contracts, sports markets, institutional trading, regulation, and who gets the price reality, right? It's a big fight because there's a ton of money there. Anywhere there's a bunch of money, people are going to be scrapping for control. How is all my undergrounders doing? I just want to say it again. Shout out to you guys. Without you guys, there is no stream. Smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're a regular, you haven't subscribed, don't know what you're doing, please do that. And there is a link to our free Discord in the description. It's in the chat. Of course, all our links are in the description, but in the chat is a link to our free Discord. And let's get over to those crypto bubbles. And we'll leave this just kind of as it is, and we'll check back tomorrow and see what happened. I don't know if I really like my lighting. All right, that looks a little bit better there. Whew. I wonder how many shows we have done. All right, here's our crypto bubbles. Now the show feels like it's really kicking off. I like doing the intro, though. How many people like the intro? How many people hate the intro? Just put love or hate in the chat. I'll know what you're talking about. So here we are, 1 through 100. First, let's just toggle that 1 through 1,000. Take a look before we even look at anything. And it's very interesting. Most things down, negative, decently. Like when you see 2% or higher in a category, especially consistently, those are decent pullbacks, right? We have been pumping for a couple of days. So there's that. Expect a little bit of pullback. Melissa says love. All right. Definitely noted you down. Got one who loves it. Anybody else? But then just 5 to 600, just up 6%, which is high for any day. Even a day when we're pumping. 6% for a whole category is pretty big. This should be pretty interesting. We'll get 2 to 300, and then we're going to have to look at that 5 to 600 because I bet you that is most likely one coin holding up that whole area. Crypto Quentin says, I don't hate the intros. Hey, that must mean that you love it, right? That's what I'm going to take from that. And welcome in, welcome in. Good evening, everybody, she says. Welcome in, Grandma. So Lab, 54.5% to the downside. Lab getting crushed again today. And this thing is so volatile. I wouldn't be surprised if the thing turns. It's just done this so many times now. Let's go to the month. I mean, down here you could have bought at about $7.40. And you could have rode that all the way up to about $17.45. You got another entry, not quite as low, but it was $12 all the way to $20. And then from $20 all the way to this low here at a little under $6. Let's call it $6 though. Back up to say highs of 16, almost $17, $17.22. And then now you're back to $6.78. So I wonder if there's any news around it. I wonder if there's any reason why it's pulled back so hard. But either way, Lab giving great entries. And so far, it's been very volatile, and we've seen it just come right back. Hash is up 26.4%. This thing was a pumper yesterday as well. Providence Blockchain, what is going on there? Zcash up 7%, 7.5% to $510, and then back under $500, $487 currently. MemeCore, coin that we talk about quite a bit here, has been as high as as high as $1.55. $155 would be a heck of a move. That'd be a crazy move. But anyways, it's $1.55, chilling at $1.36 right now. That was the high of the day, and it's still up 11%. And it's still one of the bigger green bubbles here because a lot of things are red. Gram down another 10% today. Beat down today. Toncoin. Wait a second. We have the same coin twice. Remember, Ton has been rebranded as Gram. 9.4, 160. And this is it. So we have this twice. This is a weird anomaly. I don't think that that's on purpose. Because we have two totally different bubbles for it, but it's the same coin. Unless I'm missing something here. Let's drop down 100 to 200 here. Ansem finally having a little bit of pullback. This should come to absolutely no surprise to anybody, right? Because this thing has been pumping like crazy. I mean, even right here, it looks kind of like healthy pullback. I mean, if you look at here when it went as high as 37 cents and then dipped to 26 cents, then immediately ran to 43. Are you starting to see a shoulder, head, and shoulder? We'll be keeping an eye on that, but it is down 22% today. CryptoQuentin says, bro, lab is so sketchy, LOL. Price action wise, a little bit. It's very volatile, we would say, right? Would have been a great short today. Yep, and it could be a great long tomorrow. Who knows? Grass down 20% today. Not really sure why it would be down so hardcore, but it might be one of those coins that's worth scooping. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about grass. I mean, they're starting to pay out, but they're not paying out in grass, right? So I don't know, and they're not paying out a lot either. So I don't know why that would particularly hurt their market cap. I don't know why that would be. Gwei down 21.8% today. Wow. There's several projects just kind of dropping off a cliff. I kind of wanted to get into Gwei, but I almost feel like I need to reevaluate certain projects by the time they do something like this. I'm like, wait a second, what have they really done since I first started looking at them, first started being interested in them? Have they done anything as far as launching product? Things that matter, right, in the space. And LDO, Lido DAO, getting a bit of a 12.5% pump. 2 to 300 here. YFI was up a decent bit, and Magma was up yesterday. Now, big pattern of things that were up big yesterday usually having pullbacks, right? Until you decide that you're going to short it, and then it'll pump for 3 weeks straight. 15.8% down today to $2,165, was as high as $2,725. Pretty big swing there. Magma in the sweet ecosystem, Binance, it is down 21.3% with a high today of 44 cents, chilling at 34 cents. So it's down 10 cents today. Cubic, I always want to call it Quebec. Cubic is up 10%, not the Providence of Canada. CryptoQuentin says, I'm buying Gwei today. Hey, there you go. He says, I'm all in. I'll probably buy a little bit of it today as well. Let's see. Up 10%. If you know this coin, a lot of people, Cubic almost gets thrown in there with Quant. That's those circles is what I mean. UAI or Unify Network up 22%. Chip, which USD.ai. I haven't seen this coin in a while. This is pretty interesting. It hasn't had a really good day in a while. I feel like it's only up 12% for the month. So is it starting to run now? I don't know. Safe up 9%. And then of course we got to go check out that 500 to 600% here. Old tokens. Pros. Wasn't Pros Pharaohs? Prosper. Old. This is weird. I told you it was probably one token just holding up this whole environment here. And what did it go from? It went from about 4 cents to 4. It did a 10x today. I don't even know what this is. It says Prosper Old, so maybe the original token has already moved contracts and stuff. I don't exactly know what this is. Let's see if we can find out some information over on CoinGecko. Yeah, Prosper has recently migrated from their old contract on Ethereum and old contract 2 on BNB Smart Chain on Ethereum to a new contract. Now, this sounds super confusing. Maybe they don't know what they're doing. I don't know. 20 million market cap. This is, again, the old token. It's not whatever new token they rebranded to. Definitely not all in, he says. I think it's an easy swing trade. We'll probably 2x soon. And I think you're probably right about that, honestly. What is going on? There we go. Computer freezing. or it could be the website. I think it's actually the website here. So I wanted to see what kind of information we could find about this. Just literally 10x today. It says 8x, but I think it was more of a 10x, right? From 4 cents to 40 something cents. I don't have the best math skills in the world, but that should be a 10x. Ethereum, Polygon, BNB, no website, DeFi. Maybe we'll come back to that. I don't want to get lost in the weeds there, but that's really what's holding up that 500 to 600 category. Other than that, you have Spell up 26%, and BBT, which is that baby boom token, and then TAC has just been getting absolutely demolished. Remember when this thing just pumped like crazy, and now it just absolutely got wiped out, and it's all like within a day. Wow. I mean, wow, look at that. It was about 5 cents before it went to under a penny. TAC was bringing Ethereum, Ethereum virtual machine capabilities to the Ton ecosystem. I don't know if maybe they were fraudulent. They weren't able to actually do what they said they were going to do. I don't know why it got hit so hard there, but liquidity definitely got pulled out of that. It looks like CoinGecko maybe is having some difficulties here. Let's see, is crypto rank the same? No, crypto rank loaded pretty quickly here. I don't know if maybe we need to skip over CoinGecko. No, here we go. It loaded. Let's do our price rundown. Overall market cap 2.25. I tried to combine the number 2 and 5 together. Don't do that while you're live streaming. 2.25 trillion, down 1%. Lately, it feels like we go up 1.5% and down 1% and up, 2% and down 3%. It just really hasn't been any momentum like in one direction. Very sideways, I should say. Bitcoin, $63,592, up 8.1% today. A lot of green in this 7-day as we stroll here. It's good. Let's see if we can hold it. I feel like today a lot of things got some pressure, right? Ethereum was, I believe, above 1,800. Melissa says Bonk got exploited today. Who's our Bonk guy? Stregahart, right? Thanks for telling us that. Let's take a look at that real quick. See how bad it was. And there's some different things. There's Bonk, and then there's like a Bonk launch pad. Alright, let's go get the monthly here. Yeah, what's up with Bonk? Let's take a look. Let's keep kind of zooming out here. I mean, how bad was this exploit? Because the sell-off is clearly visible, right? But the sell-off is just like back to when the pump started, so it's really not anything crazy. Let's look at market cap. Sometimes the price is just so many zeros, it's not even worth looking at. So market cap 360 million before the pump. Got as high as 450 million, and now we are 366 million, which obviously I can see right there. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it sold off that hard unless it's just gonna like continue to snowball from here. It really doesn't seem that bad, and I'm just judging that off of price action. We'll maybe find some news. We are going to do the news today. Maybe we'll find some news about what actually happened there. But usually the sell-off is in pretty good relation to how bad things were, how much money was lost, how much confidence was destroyed, that kind of stuff. There's a warning on top. Bonk in you, maybe. All right, I'll go back real quick. You said there was a warning. Did I just completely gloss over it? Very possible. Here we go. Bonk DAO treasury was drained of 20 million via a past malicious governance proposal. Please refer to this post for more detail. All right, taking us to X. Bonk DAO was the target of a malicious government proposal resulting. So somebody proposed something, I guess, in the governance, and then it got approved. An estimated 20 million worth of Bonk tokens are being drained from the DAO treasury. During the investigation, Bonk DAO identified the exchange wallets used to purchase Bonk ahead of the proposal. Bonk DAO is currently actively working with exchanges, bridges, and Solana Foundation to manage the situation. Law enforcement has been notified. Bonk DAO continues to work with relevant parties to recover funds and identify those responsible. Let's see. The proposal to drain Bonk's DAO treasury passed legitimately after proposers bought 4.4 million in Bonk to meet the 1% quorum threshold and voted yes alone. Only 7 wallets participated out of 1,800. This seems like a very interesting story. So you're telling me that they bought a bunch of Bonk, proposed a proposal to drain the treasury, which I don't even know how that wouldn't be stopped immediately as fraudulent. And then they voted because they met the 1% quorum, like they knew how much they needed to have in order to do that. Only 7 wallets participated out of 18,000 plus. So yeah. Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. Look at this top. Well, I don't know if it's a top comment, but it's here. We're completely dumb, and our DAO functioned as intended is a weird thing to call the police about. Yo, that's funny. If you get it back, it's best you burn it like you promised. Yo, somebody is snapping. What's malicious about it? I was literally put to vote. Yeah. This is funny. This is the proposal. Swallian Bonk DAO. Implemented governments, install new members to council, rebuild from the ashes, monetize holders, stop the bleeding, and yes, voters are eligible to receive tokens. Send this much Bonk to this address. This is funny. I hope that we don't see a lot of this. I mean, they've got to have ways. It's a completely legal and legitimate hostile takeover. There's nothing illegal about it. Maybe if you guys paid attention to your own project and held your own coins, you would have been able to defend it. But you didn't, and you don't. So yeah, it sounds very much like somebody took advantage of a DAO where a lot of people are not paying any attention. DAOs are a really interesting thing, and I got a dose of it when I was trying to propose maybe some sponsorships to, promote education about specific DAOs that they could pay some money out of their treasury. They have tons of money sitting in their treasury doing nothing, not promoting their projects at all. That I know of, most of them. And so I figured I'd reach out and see if we can make that happen. Tends to be not the easiest thing to even get a vote on. And meanwhile, other people are just voting to drain DAOs completely. Pretty funny. And then what can they even do about it? About 20 million being taken away. I mean, 20 million out of 366 million. Sure, you'll see a pullback, but like that's not the end of the world. Why didn't they go for 300 million, right? They should have went for 300 million. Yeah, Bonk is cooked now. Hacks are bearish. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to do well for the sentiment in the market, and Bonk wasn't really a household name anymore anyways. I mean, it had a time where it was doing really well. But before we all go, kick bonk while it's down just because maybe you don't hold bonk, just know that crazy things can happen in crypto, and they can happen to just about any token for the most part, right? So here we are. Ethereum, $1,779, BNB, $577, XRP, $1.11. Solana is $80.34, up 9.5% in the last 7 days. Hyperliquid, $69.48, still up 6.5%. A lot of things kind of got pulled back here. Dogecoin, 7.5 cents. Rain, which is prediction markets, and our topic of the day is prediction markets, and Rain is taking a beating. It is raining on Rain's parade. I can't help myself. Zcash, $488, and Zcash is actually up 20.8%. So Zcash is kind of taking names. Where'd it go? It went to $510 today. Cardano, 17.5 cents. Again, not looking too shabby on the sell-off there, right? Holding up pretty well. It's very falling wedge, which will probably just wind up rounding out. But it's up 20.9%. It's at 17.5 cents. Cardano, XLM. XLM, I think, got a little bit beat up here. It was up 20-something%, right? Now it's up 0.1% in the last 7 days at about 19 cents. Monero XMR, $334, up 10% in the last 7 days. Chainlink, $7.87, up about 9%. Canton Network, 13 cents. I think Canton Network is on sale right now. I think Canton Network's a pretty decent project. I don't see any huge things wrong with Canton Network as far as FUD goes, or any good FUD narratives going around. Graham, previously Toncoin. In the crypto bubbles, they had two bubbles, one for Graham and one for Toncoin. That made no sense, but they had the same metrics. They had the same numbers. It's $1.61, up about 7.5%. Sui, 73 cents. Still think it's on sale under $1. Avalanche, $6.66. The Work of Darkness. No, I'm just playing. What else do we got? Lab at $6.79. It's down 54%. It's up, it's down, it's down, it's up. Look at this. Look at that. I guess it's a Bart Simpson, right? It did the Bart Simpson perfectly. And of course, MemeCore coming back a little bit. MemeCore is up 86% in the last 7 days to $1.35. So there you go. Let's take a look at what's trending over here on CoinGecko. I feel like CoinGecko's trending really sets a little bit of a direction, as then we go to Crypto Rank and then we really get into some sauce. The Black Bull. Enough time has passed that it's actually only up 125% in the last 7 days, where it's been up like 50,000, 70,000. At one point, it was up 125,000% on the 7 day. But enough time has passed that's evened out, right? Grass getting a bit of a beat down. A lot of coins getting a beat down. Lab getting beat down. Grass getting beat down. TAC getting beat down. Solstice getting beat down. VVV Venice Token getting a little bit of a beat down again. If I can scoop some Venice token, I mean, $8 is cool. Maybe $6. That will be worth grabbing a nice chunk of money up. And then Jupiter, Collector, Ondo, Arbitrum, Ethereum, Lighter, Monad doing well. Melissa's happy about that. None of these, we're looking at what's trending, but we're also kind of looking for what's new. Black Bull, we've talked about it quite a bit. I don't think we really need to do that. TAC, again, we've talked about that. It's just bringing Ethereum virtual machine compatibility to Ton, and it must not be doing a really good job because it's getting crushed. Solstice, I believe, is a decentralized exchange. Is that correct? Is it a DEX? DeFi. Okay, so it's more like DeFi, decentralized finance, than a DEX. Finance. Launch this DApp. Take a look at Solstice. We've talked about this a bunch of times. The claim to fame here is yield, right? And looks like right now 18.6 is the highest. More it says deep DeFi, probably higher risk, more fluctuation there. But it says they've been around for 3 years, so Solstice maybe one of the more trusted yield bearers in the crypto market, or Solana, I should say, Solana ecosystem. What happened to TAC? I don't know. As far as news goes, I have no idea. I don't know why tax down so much. We're going to be doing a new segment here very shortly. And at that point, we'll see if there's any information about Bonk. I'm sure that Bonk will be in there. And then maybe TAC will have some news. I don't know. But anyways, Fear and Greed Index at 20. They pulled you right back down to extreme fear. You just got into regular fear at 27 yesterday. We were moving out of the extreme fear, and they pulled us right back. Very typical. You got to pump. You got to pull back. And the Fear and Greed Index reflects it. Nothing crazy. Let's make this the top 20 and not the top 10. And let's tell you a little story about tonight's topic. And again, it's prediction markets, but we're going to start with the problem. Yes, we're talking about prediction markets, but the angle that we're coming at this is more about the on-chain war for certain sectors, whether that's stable coins, whether that is prediction markets, whether it's tokenization. That is the angle that we're coming from here, right? So people have always tried to predict the future. That's a problem. News anchors do it, pollsters do it, traders do it, sports analysts do it, economists do it, crypto influencers do it. I don't predict the future all that often. Everybody has opinions about what comes next, unless it was raved out. If they would have had a prediction market on Rave DAO just dumping to zero, figuratively, I should have took it because I said that thing was inflated and not legitimate many times. Everybody has opinions about what comes next. Who wins the next election? Where does Bitcoin go? Fed rates, team winning championships, lawsuit resolves, literally anything. Is it going to rain on Taco Tuesday? Set your predictions, lose your money. Company launch a product, war escalates, regulation passed, the Strait of Hormuz, Iran, all of that stuff. People can say whatever they want. They can be loud, they can be confident, and then they can still be wrong. Most of the time, the more loud and confident they are, and the more people are very heavily on one side, a lot of times the more likely that they're going to be wrong. And they can just move on. Prediction markets change the game because they ask different questions. Not just, what do you think will happen? But like, what price are you willing to put on that belief? How much money are you willing to hand over if you're wrong? That is why prediction markets are exploding. They turn opinions into a market. In that sense alone, opinions into a market, they are genius. Because people, this might not come across great, people usually, the lower the IQ, the more opinionated and the more that they feel, not just that they have opinions, but the more that they feel like everybody needs to know their opinion, like as if their opinion is highly important. Do with that what you want. So they turn opinions into markets, right? They turn events into contracts. They turn uncertainty into prices. A market might trade 70 cents because traders believe there is a roughly 70% chance an event will happen. That does not mean the market is always right, and that does not mean the market cannot be manipulated if influencers and people come out and they really push a narrative really heavily. And I don't even know what the results of this was. There was a marketing campaign going on for, I believe it was Kalshi, right, which is a prediction market, not a crypto one, but a prediction market, and actually they do have crypto influence. But anyways, about how like Mexico's the underdog for soccer and they should win and stuff. I have no idea if that actually panned out, but like what they were suggesting without directly saying it is like you should go make a bet on Mexico winning, and I don't know if that means the whole championship or just winning their next games, but that is a clear sign of how influencers would come in and manipulate what a large amount of people think running a big campaign like that. And that does not just mean markets cannot be manipulated. It does not mean crowds are always wise. I mean, if you think the crowd is usually wise, I don't know. That might be a problem. But what does prediction markets create? Something powerful, right? A live price for belief. I don't know why I can't talk today. What's going on in this? Oh, Cam's in the house. Welcome in. We're talking about prediction markets. Prime Minister says prediction markets are the next wave. Haven't tried it yet, though. Yeah. I do like when 24-hour crypto does higher or lower kind of like prediction markets. Yeah, when they're simple like that, I can kind of get behind them. But like sometimes even like sports betting, when you got to set these like rigorous, like this guy on this team's going to do this thing and some guy on a totally different team's going to do this other thing. And it's just like, I just don't put enough time and energy into all of that. I'd rather figure out something that's going to be, I guess it's profitable if you know it and you get on these prediction markets, but they weren't always around, right? You used to have to go through like a Vegas bookie or something like that to put those kind of bets in. Prime Minister says, in the past, UG, you probably remember, we would bet in person based on word. This new way is like a global betting system. Oh, yeah. I agree with you. And I definitely, like, I understand prediction markets. Like, I get it. I just think that it's just, overall, I think it's another vehicle for those with money to hype up people who don't really have the money to lose and take their money. It's just another system, like gambling of any kind, to take money from people. That's my opinion. And, you do what you want with your money, never financial advice, right? Let's get back to what we were talking about here real quick. Let me finish this up. But it does mean prediction markets create something powerful, a live price for belief. And everybody wants in. As you can see, Polymarkets became the crypto native name people recognize. Kalshi became the regulated U.S. event contract platform. Hyperliquid is preparing to compete with outcome tokens. Galaxy is offering institutional over-the-counter prediction market trading. Sportsbooks are watching closely. Traditional exchanges are watching closely as well. Regulators are trying to define what counts as legitimate, even contracts, or what crosses into gambling. I don't know how all of it's not gambling, because it is. States are fighting about the authority. Trust me, states only care because they want to tax you. And institutions are starting to ask whether these markets can become real hedging tools. This is not just betting, it's market structure. But at the end of the day, I don't know how you could argue it's not gambling. You are gambling on if a team would win, if it's going to rain on Taco Tuesday, before or after 4 o'clock. Those little stipulations that they put in a lot of these bets are how they make their money, right? It rained on Taco Tuesday, but it didn't rain after 4 p.m. Hopefully you paid attention enough to read all of the bet before you just decided, hey, it's going to rain on Tuesday, I'm pretty sure I'll bet. And and I say that over and over as an example because there's one specific prediction market that I always see advertised. It might even be Kalshi, but they advertise betting on the weather a lot in their campaigns that they do online. Let's get UG to Paley, higher or lower for BTC. I think he meant play. Yes, very risky. They used to bet big on Mike Tyson fights in the 90s. Yeah, and I mean, betting on stuff has been around for forever. That doesn't I don't know. That doesn't scare me none. I'm not worried about it. I'm not scared of any of it. Honestly, people do what they want with their money, and I think that's a right that they have. I just feel like a lot of people are going to lose a lot more money, but they've been doing that on the lottery forever. So what's the difference, right? People who want to go just throw their money at the wall and hope for that magical payoff where they just, get a couple $1 million and they just retire for the rest of their life. That's the type of thing that they're selling you, right? That is why tonight matters. This is why raising your crypto IQ can matter, and prediction markets fall into this because, well, prediction markets kind of got their rise out of crypto, and I think a lot of people don't know that. Prediction markets sit at the corner of the Onchain Market War. They combine crypto trading, sports, politics, news, finance, regulation, and social attention into one market. It is kind of genius, and doing it within the blockchain rails and stuff is almost how you kind of skate around a lot of the regulation and stuff. If you try to just launch this in any other form, it would probably just tell you you're just gambling app. If prediction markets grow, they could compete with sportsbooks, and I think they will, and I don't see how all the sportsbook betting doesn't just get wrapped up in prediction markets, because what is a sports bet other than a prediction about a game that hasn't happened yet. It's all the same thing. And they could compete with polling. They could compete with parts of financial derivatives. One thing I think is funny is you have like all these pollsters a lot of times with political stuff, elections, all these things. And people will still keep referring to the Polymarket odds on something as more legitimate or more likely to be correct than the pollsters and the polling, because they've been, manipulated forever, right? You take a poll of 1,000 people in a country where you have 360 million and then try to, stake if, the outcome is going to really be predicted well off of 1,000 people when there's 360 million people in the country. It's pretty obvious that that's not going to be very accurate. Anyways, I digress. They could compete with polling. They could compete with parts of financial derivatives. They could become new hedging tools. They could become information markets. They could become places where AI agents trade future outcomes. I could see that one. But they also carry real risk, just like any other gambling, right? Shallow liquidity, manipulation, insider information, regulatory pressure, gambling concerns, moral questions about which events should be tradable. That's a totally different dynamic, and I don't think anybody's going to care about the moral question, right? So the big question tonight is not just, are prediction markets hot? The real question is, who wins the war to turn the future into a market? What's the sports? Anybody know the sports betting market? What are they? Where basically they got in big trouble because when they lose a bet, like a big bet, and they lose, and a lot of people need to be paid out, they just change the rules and don't pay people out, right? It was a big deal a month ago, maybe month and a half ago. Somebody probably knows what I'm talking about. So we got our talking points. They are ready to go. We're going to hop back to what is trending, but this really seems like actually a good time to move to the news. Let's see what we got going on in the news. Yes, I asked ChatGPT to pull the news. If you hate ChatGPT, I don't know what to tell you. It's the same thing as if I Googled all this stuff and pulled it together, except for it did it for me. So we kind of skipped the first 4 or 5 because they're just going to tell you what Bitcoin's doing. And we've already looked at that on the 4-hour chart. ETF flows are the key to things to watch. And we look at that here on Blockworks. I know I'm jumping around, but we're going to bring it all together. They have an ETF inflow marker, and we'll come back to that soon. Make sure I'm caught up on the chat before I get yapping here. Yeah, very risky. Yep, they used to big on the Mike Tyson fights in the 90s. Exactly. They've been humans have been betting on everything always, I feel like. I mean, and I could go into some deep stuff with that, but I'll save that, I guess, for the end of the show. So let's see what news is relevant to us right now. And I like how when I pull the news through here, a lot of times the first stories are your bigger, more just world economic stories, and then all of a sudden it seems to realize that this is crypto, and it starts actually giving me crypto stories. But it all is one big picture, right? Iran and oil are back in the macro picture, right? Let's see. Iran attacked 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz. You can't negotiate with terrorists. If you feel some type of way about that, I don't know what to tell you. But I don't think that Iran's ever going to keep their word with anything they say, and I don't even really understand why we're trying to negotiate with them other than to maybe try to look highly civilized. Because if we just blew them out of the water, then that might get some controversy. I don't know. You're going to get controversy either way. Just like me talking about it, somebody is going to be offended. The SEC may propose a major crypto rule this month. So let's see. The SEC, who we've not typically been a fan of, but they have new leadership, so I guess we got to give them a chance here. Just like Jerome Powell's new, person who took his seat. I guess we got to give him a little bit of time to see if he actually does anything. So they're expected to propose a new rule called Regulation Crypto. They dug really deep into their, subconscious mind to come up with that. As soon as this month, CoinDesk says proposal could create temporary exemptions for securities registration for certain crypto activities, allow some fundraising, and set up a safe harbor for issuers, reducing managerial control over a token project. This is one of the biggest US policy stories today because it could make it easier for crypto startups to raise money and launch tokens without immediately falling into full security registration requirements. Coinbase got UK authorization to offer traditional investments. I talked about this the other day. In my opinion, the whole thing going on in Europe, for as much as I've looked at it, pretty much seems to go like this. Hey, we're the UK. We see you guys are doing a lot of things inside of our markets. You have access to our markets. We don't like that. Nobody's paying the piper. So we're going to make this MICA, M-I-C-A, standard of like licensing and approval. It's basically an approval. It's a stamp of approval by the UK. And if you don't have it, you can't do anything here anymore. And if you would like to purchase that license, right, qualify, whatever, then you can have access to our markets if you could afford to pay the licensing fee, that kind of thing. In my opinion, it's no different than a regulator coming in and not so much the art of like regulating and making sure that things are not scams, but more because you already have laws for that stuff. You can already persecute a scammer without regulation because they're doing something illegal. Most of the time, that is. But my point here is that it just really feels like a bit of authoritarian coming in, take over the market. Everybody who wants to pay for play, they need to pay the piper, right? You let me know how you feel about that, especially if you live in the UK. Coinbase secured US regulatory. Of course, Coinbase has got the change to make it happen. They got the money to make it happen, and I think that's probably all you need. Approval to offer equities, derivatives alongside crypto. The license lets institutional and advanced traders access crypto, equity, and commodity perpetual futures, while UK retail users will be able to trade equities on Coinbase for the first time. Now, for the big dogs like Coinbase, this is great because this just shuts out all the small, tiny competitors. People who are not going to be able to afford to be quote-unquote licensed or registered or whatever they want to call it. Take all the mom and pops out, all the small people out, and then basically the big conglomerates are just going to come in and control the entire market. That's what I see happening. You tell me your opinion. This is another everything exchange story. Coinbase is trying to become more than a crypto exchange. Stocks, crypto, derivatives, tokenized equities, prediction markets, and consumer finance, all inside one platform. I don't think they're trying. I think they're going to. Kraken is trying to become a bank in Europe. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, pretty sure Kraken is a bank in America. Coinbase is a bank in America. XRP, I think, even bought a bank in America and got banking license and stuff wrapped into everything they're doing. I don't see how Kraken doesn't pull this off. Kraken is pursuing a full banking license in Europe with Lithuania reportedly the focus jurisdiction. Just like anywhere else, Europe has certain places where everybody knows that's where you go to set stuff up. CoinDesk says if Kraken succeeds, it will become the only crypto exchange that is designation following a similar regulatory path to Revolut's, I don't know who that is, specialized European banking license. This fits the same bigger trend. Crypto exchanges are trying to move deeper into regulation, banking, payments, custody, and full financial services. I think it's a must. I think that these banks and banking infrastructure needs to be owned under some of these things in order for them to really integrate everything. I don't think they can really integrate without it. Vanguard is hiring a digital asset leader. Vanguard opened a search for head of digital assets. Hey, maybe I should apply. A senior role. Nah, they're probably not going to let me in. I'm going to be too young. That would oversee strategy around tokenization, stablecoins, custody, digital wallets, blockchain settlements, and possible partnerships. CoinDesk notes that it is a shift for Vanguard, which has historically been one of the largest institution skeptics of cryptograph, or crypto. It's all smoke and mirrors. You know, what to me happened is Vanguard kept saying, oh, no, we hate crypto. BlackRock was like, no, we're going to get into it. And Vanguard's like, that's cool because we own like 40% of all your stock anyway. So our exposure is good and we can still act like we're against crypto, right? Which, by the way, is a good call for people to invest with Vanguard who don't like crypto. And then eventually it'll become so big that they're going to flip the script. And at that point, sentiment will have changed so much that nobody will really care, right? And that's where we are right now. Securitize is down 40% after SPAC debuted. Securitize, the BlackRock-backed tokenization company, has fallen 40% since completing the SPAC merger. CoinDesk says that the sell-off may be more about SPAC mechanics and weak crypto equity sentiment than a fundamental problem with tokenization itself. This is important because it shows the difference between a strong long-term narrative and a weak public market debut. Tokenization is hot, but crypto stocks are still trading under heavy skepticism, of course, in your traditional finance. There you go. Tokenized equities hit a record this month. Should surprise nobody. CoinDesk research says tokenized equity volume surged 145% in June to a record of 3.8 billion, helped by the SpaceX IPO. At the same time, stablecoin market cap fell 312 billion in its largest monthly drop since Terra USD. And this is the last one I'll read before we take a break. We'll come back to the news in a minute. And usually after about 11, 12, we start getting into the more niche crypto stories. Tether invested $20 million in Mercado Bitcoin. I knew how to say it when I started reading it. Tether invested $20 million into a Brazilian crypto platform, Mercado Bitcoin. Not sure exactly how I'm supposed to say that. I am not Spanish. The funding is meant to support payments, lending, tokenized investments, capital markets, and international expansion across Latin America. Mercado. How am I supposed to say that? I have no idea. Bitcoin says it serves 4.5 million users and has issued more than 307 million in tokenized assets. Again, this is all Brazilian market. I think over time this will matter. Brazil is pretty big in South America, but will it branch out and kind of take over all of South America? Then it becomes kind of a huge market, right? Former Tether investment chief is reportedly looking to sell part of his stake in Tether. Somebody's going to want to buy that. I know that. All right, let's come back to what is trending over on Crypto Rank. We're trying to switch it up. We're trying to keep it exciting. See a couple people tuned off. What can you do? You try to raise their crypto IQ and let them know what's going on. They don't want to know. So we got Groove. Groove we saw yesterday. Did they have a token yesterday? I don't know. Let's go to all. No, so they launched today. So Groove actually launched token generation event today, it looks like. And maybe that's why it was trending yesterday, because maybe some people kind of had that knowledge and they knew it was going to, actually come out with a coin. So they were ahead of the game. Groove is a lending protocol with Sky ecosystem. There you go. So the Sky ecosystem, designed to calculate the yield on stable coins and allocate capital on the blockchain. Sky is a rebrand. Sky used to be MakerDAO. All right, let's look that up real quick, because I don't want to give you guys anything that's not legitimate. I am pretty confident Sky used to be MakerDAO. Then they decided that they were going to be Sky and said, yep, Maker has rebranded to Sky. I'm not crazy. So there you go. And this is in their ecosystem. Now you got a token, 204 million in market cap, all-time high 243. So it's really not very far from its all-time high. Let's go look at the website. And we go straight to launching the app. That's right, our region is restricted. I forgot about that. 2.6 billion total value locked. That's pretty significant. Maple Finance, Galaxy, Aave, Morpho, Janice Henderson investors. Interesting. Centrifuge. I haven't seen that in forever. What else do we got? Apollo. Well, I wish I could show you the app a little bit more, but it's not worth running around trying to change my VPN. Cryptic Quentin says, I'm still here. Roll call. Who else is here with me? I appreciate it when people say stuff like that. Lets me know. And don't forget, we would love to hit our super chat goal of the night, which is 5 super chats. Can be sent as low as $2. They count. Melissa already started us off with a $5 super chat. remind everybody, I don't like to harp on it a lot, but remind everybody I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I'm here for 2 hours usually every night, at least 6 days a week, and I'm not being paid for it. So if you'd like to see this show continue, think about sending a super chat every once in a while. Impossible Cloud Network is trending. It's not exactly new, right? But it's a cloud network. We know that, but I'd like to see what kind of information we can get here. Impossible Cloud Network is a multi-service cloud platform, and I'd actually like a better description, to be honest with you. Let's get a little deeper here. By pooling global cloud infrastructure and leveraging decentralized technology, ICN aims to eliminate vendor lock-in, enhance data security, and provide a more resilient cloud ecosystem. The platform connects hardware providers who contribute infrastructure with service providers that create and deliver cloud products, all within transparent marketplace powered by the ICN network. Hey, 00 Zoe, been watching on the big screen, not in the chat. Thank you for sending a super chat, first of all. I love to see that you're still here because I genuinely enjoy your interaction here as an undergrounder. And the support as a super chat, wrap that all together. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you big time. And now we're 2 to our goal of 5 super chats. And thank you very much. Stepped away for a sec, still here, Underground Prime Minister. I appreciate that. We got to do a little roll call every once in a while, keep the chat moving. And of course, let me know that you guys are still locked in. One thing I'm not going to harp on a lot because I can get off on a tangent like nobody's business. But when you like something I'm doing, definitely let me know. When you don't like something I'm doing, a segment, I go too long with something, a topic you don't find interesting, don't feel like you're rude. You can tell me you don't like the topic, and I can still know that maybe somebody here does, but I still like to know that you don't like the topic or that you do like the topic. Either way, I certainly like to get some feedback so we can continue to morph this show over time to exactly what the people really want. M1X Global raised $5.5 million. It is an RWA platform issuing USD M1. I'm tired of remembering all of these tickers for all of these different stablecoins. A tokenized sovereign debt instrument backed by U.S. Treasuries for institutional markets. So it's for institutional markets. We could come down here, we get a little bit more involved, but all you really need to know is that it facilitates government aid distributed, such as universal basic income, and seamlessly integrates with regulated banking infrastructure to modernize global capital allocation. Right here is a moment to say, what do we think? Do we like universal basic income? How many people know what universal basic income is? Just throw a 111 in the chat if you know what the concept of universal basic income is, and throw me a 555 in the chat if you have no idea what I'm talking about. That'll give me a little bit of a pull, and I'll briefly explain it. Unless everybody already knows what it is, then I won't waste my time. Prime Minister says, ouch, poor mantra. That token is cooked. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have no idea what they were doing. I was never a big fan. If I owned some, I probably would have been paying more attention. But there was mantra, and then there was Ohm, and it seemed to me like they were migrating to a new token. But then it was like they just decided they were going to keep both tokens. And I just think that split their liquidity and split things up. I don't know if Ohm was supposed to be like maybe for a specific use case and it wasn't supposed to be a move in contracts or a rebrand. I don't exactly know. But I do know that it didn't seem to do very well. We have the inner fold. Ticker fold might be an easier way. It looks like it's a rebrand here. Enclave. Okay, Cryptic Quentin, Prime Minister. I would expect you guys to probably know what it is. Anybody not know what universal basic income is? Is it coming? Is it not coming? So for this ticker fold, they've raised about $3.5 million, which is not a lot of money. Sometimes there'll be a different number down here as it hasn't updated yet. Just 3.5 mil. Enclave is an open source protocol coordinating the various actors and composing the various components. That really told you what the heck they are doing, didn't it? You got that? So they got ZK proofs, a launch pad, like Legion and Uniswap CCA. Blockchains like Ethereum, or blockchain is Ethereum, and it was previously Enclave, and now they're going to go with Fold. These novel execution environments secure computations using fully homomorphic encryption. Hey, gotta love that fully homomorphic encryption, right? Yeah, nasty crash from $10 to $0. Lots of people lost. It's a market out there, guys, and it's an emerging market. It is the wild, wild west. I know Mantra went on a crazy run, so I guess what? People pulled their money. UBI, it will never work. It's just a theory. It kind of taps into politics, too. Yeah. There you go. Thank you for that, Prime Minister. I like when people in here kind of have an edge on things. EDX Markets. Sounds like a market, right? EDX Market is an institutional digital asset exchange combining and execution venues with a central clearinghouse for traditional finance firm. That is a bunch of traditional speak that means not for retail. That's what that meant right there. Backers like Pantera Capital raised about $76 million so far. Institutional grade digital asset technology firm and exchange platform designed specifically for traditional financial institute and market makers. We'll keep moving along here. KOR Protocol is an on-chain creative asset clearinghouse providing infrastructure to register, route, and settlement digital intellectual properties on Base. So this is Base native. That sounds cool. Account abstraction. Where have we heard terms like account abstraction, wallet abstraction, chain abstraction? Where have we heard stuff like that? Then we have these ERC 804 or 8004 or however we're going to agree to abbreviate that. It's kind of like that ISO 20022. Used to be such a big narrative. I've heard that a million times, and then we did the narrative, even though you haven't heard a lot of speak about it lately. At least I'm not in those echo chambers. And I totally forgot how we all agreed we were going to say that. 7.5 million they've raised here. Again, when you start hearing terms like clearinghouse, intellectual properties, you kind of know what's going on. Doesn't make it not valuable, don't get me wrong. It just seems like it is very much built to bring TradFi in. The platform automates the registry, so like registration and stuff, tracking and commercialization of creative works across music, film, and digital arts. This is probably like royalty rights and things like that. It's very interesting. I think everything's interesting, so forgive me if I say everything's interesting all the time. Here is that Mercado Bitcoins, Mercado Bitcoin. I'm just absolutely butchering it, so I'm just gonna lean into it a little bit, right? 58 million raised here. It looks like they don't have a token yet. It's an exchange, centralized exchange at that. RWA, tokenized bonds, custodying your coins. Not your coins, not your crypto, people. And let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much all we need to know. They've raised $58 million. To me, that's kind of the takeaway here. Does it say what? Yeah, they're not going to have a chain because they're a centralized exchange. And Boardwalk. Also in its token sales, you see how you can see some things are in funding rounds, some things are in token sales. CryptoRank does a good job of organizing this information for us. And again, this is what's trending, not just new stuff coming out, although we do focus on that. This is what is trending. So just like the top coin of the day, which was Grove, it might be. Yesterday, it was just a random coin that was launching. Today, it actually has a coin. So this is how we stay on top of the market. This is Boardwalk. It's considering itself a launch pad on Uniswap CCA, which I'm not super familiar with, but I mean, if it's a launch pad, I assume it looks like any other launch pad, just like if we see a decentralized exchange. I assume it's probably going to operate like any other decentralized exchange. Maybe a couple little things that you don't normally see. Yeah, it was Grove, actually. Okay, caught up on the chat. Boardwalk is a protocol for launching and participation in on-chain markets in one place. You can create a launch, join an auction, claim tokens, provide liquidity, and take part in governance through BWS. Launches happen under visible rules with locked liquidity built in, and a portion of protocol fees is directed by stakers each week. Boardwalk is a community-created fee protection protocol for launching. So is this like trying to give us like a really safe launches? I don't know. I almost like that. Discovering and participating in the transparent token economies. It is open, permissionless, non-custodial, transparent, fair, auditable, and built to level the playing field for all. What do you think of this, Prime Minister? This is very much your cup of tea here. Users can discover and participate in tokens. Yeah, it's just going to kind of be a little repetitive. Token launches through Boardwalk. Utilize Boardwalk standardization embedded into every token where it matters the most, while having a degree of freedom. That usually means not a lot of freedom. To customize fringe settings to create their own economy. Let's see, what did I miss? Yeah, UBI is tied into digital IDs. Great reset. Yep, there you go. I'm not sure if it'll work. Definitely don't want it to. Yeah, I mean, I can see an argument where it could work, but I'm not a fan either. Exactly, Cryptic. Yeah, we don't want that. If that happens, they're going to come for our crypto LOL. Probably. What chain is it on, UG? Let's get to that. It is Arbitrum, which is a layer 2 for Ethereum. I know you know that. I'm just saying that for everybody else. So it's basically Ethereum, but a layer 2 Arbitrum ecosystem, which Arbitrum not quite as robust as, say, Base or even Polygon for that matter. And we can just literally go to the metrics and see which one of those layer 2 is generating the most revenue. It could be a little bit not fair. What if one charges a lot less money? But you get the point. We can also just see metrics of how many, transactions are going on. Shoots. What does SNet mean? It means subnet. Subnet 64. That's how you know it's BitTensor ecosystem. Bonk. We already kind of know why Bonk is not doing so hot. Yearn Finance. Great tokenomics. Market cap only 76 million. I don't know, Yearn Finance might be worth looking at. Probably definitely go up during the bull market. Again, tokenomics is everything. Helium, you should know Helium. EdgeX, decentralized exchange. USD.ai, ticker chip. This thing came out. I wouldn't say that it did anything crazy, especially market-wise. Like, you can see this little bit here was like all very much during like its first 3 days of being a token. Basically pumped up really high and sold off the rest of the time. Pretty indicative of a coin that nobody is particularly concerned about. Does have AI in it, but there are so many things that have AI in it right now. Smart investors hopefully doing a little bit more research than just throwing money at anything that says AI. Unless you just are made of money. 70 million in market cap, been as high as 277 million. USD.ai is a decentralized protocol, issuing a synthetic dollar backed by traditional and real-world assets. It's a stablecoin, right? But with a name like USD.ai, I don't know if they're just trying to be like an AI stablecoin. Where does the AI really matter here in this? That is the question, right? So it's blockchains like Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Base, which are just all Ethereum, Arbitrum ecosystem, Ethereum, and Layer 0 ecosystem. So it seems like maybe it might have been born out of the Layer 0 ecosystem. Launchpad, CoinList, artificial intelligence, yield farming, stablecoin protocol. I mean, what does a stablecoin do? It generates fees. That's where the money is made. It's not like a traditional token where you'd buy and hope the market cap goes up, right? That's all I really have to say about that token. Non-playable coin, NPC. Why do I feel like I bought some of this? I don't think I did. I think I just talked about it. Did I buy some of this on Jupiter? That really has me wondering here. Octra, Lab, Weex. There you go. Whatever happened to make aliens great again? Why am I in cap locks? Let's take a look at it. I haven't looked at this in forever. I bought like $30 of this on Jupiter a long time ago. And then I went to the Miami meetup for the Lifer meetup in Miami. And there was advertisement everywhere for this coin. There were planes flying in the sky with Make Aliens Great Again. There were trucks driving around. And it didn't seem to matter to the exposure of it one bit. Let's just do a fun thing. Let me open up Jupiter and just see what that is worth. One Jupiter ID, access everything. All right, whatever that means. $2. So I successfully turned $30 into $2.30. Follow for more tips. This was just a fun one to look. What actually happened is I meant to sell it, and I got distracted for like 2 weeks, didn't even think about it. I was up like 10, 15 bucks. And I knew that it was over after the Miami meetup. Like, it had done so much like marketing and things that it's like if it didn't pump then, I don't think it was going to pump at all. And then I totally forgot about it, which I've done so many times that it kind of makes me mad. Anyways, let us move back on and raise that crypto IQ. Let's dive into it. Let's get into the more intricacies of tonight. Base is the top L2 overall when it comes to mindshare. Oh yeah, without a doubt, absolutely. Base, I don't see how Base doesn't pretty much take over most of all of Ethereum. That's kind of my vibe here. One thing that really, to me, says Base is going to be the very clear winner here is Base as a company is so heavily focused on the user ability, how it feels, how smooth it is, how well it works, how hard it is to find what you're looking for on their apps, that they kind of bring that whole mentality into their blockchain. And I think it kind of shows. And I think that's abstraction that we always talk about, and I think that is the winning recipe. So prediction markets turn future events into tradable contracts. A prediction market lets people trade contracts based on whether future events happen or don't. Most of the time, they're simple yes or no contracts. For example, will Bitcoin hit a certain price, a team win, candidates, yada yada. That part you already know. This fits the on-chain market war because events are becoming assets. Monday was about stocks moving on-chain or tokenization. Today is about the future outcomes becoming tradable assets, and that's a major shift because crypto is not only asking, can we tokenize stocks? They're also asking, can we tokenize events? Can we tokenize probabilities or forecasts or the future, culture, politics, sports, economic data, news outcomes, pretty much anything. You guys want a prediction market on what I might say next or what topic we're going to do next week? I mean, how niched out could we get here? Like, could communities probably would start with the bigger communities, right? Like Joe Rogan. Can we do a prediction market on who Joe Rogan's going to have on his podcast next? There you go. That is what prediction markets are so powerful and also controversial. The type of event, the question is asked, who will win? I think you guys get it. I'm not going to be so repetitive with that. But no matter what the event is, you can make some kind of contract about it, right? And it could be as simple as yes or no. Or it could be as complicated as some sports betting where, like, you know, this guy has to do this in the first round and then some other guy's got to do this other thing on another team in the third round. I'm not a big sports bettor, but I've been around some people who are. The main competitors are Polymarket and Kalshi. So this is where we kind of start to get into the whole quote-unquote war over both. Who's going to be on top? Who's going to have the best relationship with the regulator? Who's going to be ahead of the game on what they're bringing down the pipe for the regulator? Who's going to have the most exposure in every state? It's a huge thing fueled by lots of money and lots of lawyers, but there's lots of profit to be had. But the field is widening, right? Right now, the two names most people know are Polymarket and Kalshi. Polymarket is the crypto native brand with a deep mind share in on-chain prediction markets, which is saying Polymarket kind of started this whole thing. It makes perfect sense why they started in the blockchain technology world, because there's a lot less regulation around it, right? And then it is branched out, and Polymarket is almost like the name most people know. Routers reported that Polymarket receives a CFTC green light for a U.S. return after previously blocking American users following an earlier CFTC settlement. So, you know, CFTC ruins the day, CFTC saves the day. And Polymarket pretty much only probably gets to do this because they came in, they did not ask permission, they made a bunch of money. Then the CFTC got mad at them, and then they gave CFTC a bunch of money, and then they said, oh no, you're okay with us now. Welcome to the club. Don't forget to pay your taxes. Kalshi is the regulated U.S. event contract exchange that has been pushing hard into mainstream prediction markets. Kalshi has also been tightening controls around higher risk markets. CoinDesk reported that it now requires users to reveal your employer before trading certain markets with heightened inside trading or manipulation risk. Yeah, that's a whole can of worms right there. What if you just, I don't know, lied? Or use somebody else's, you know? So you're not really lying. Like, what if your wife does it? She doesn't work for whatever big hedge, whatever you're getting your insider information, and you use her stuff. You didn't ever lie to them. But they might still come for whatever your wins are if they figure it out. But the competition is expanding. CoinDesk reported that Hyperliquid has been preparing outcome token infrastructure. This sounds interesting. I think we probably need to dive into it a little bit at some point. To compete with prediction markets, incumbents like Kalshi and Polymarket. Galaxy has also moved in from the institutional side, launching over-the-counter prediction markets trading on Kalshi, Polymarket, and executing a $10 million trade, I'm assuming, with crypto native hedge fund Arca at launch. So what I think is really interesting is I'm not real big in traditional finance. I've told my story many times of how I got into crypto. It started with buying a bunch of stocks when the whole world saw a huge pullback in world markets. I think we all know what that is. Rolling up your sleeve. Anyways, then I sold them and I bought some crypto. It was Doge and it was 0.002. And then I would watch that thing just absolutely moon. And I would ask myself, what the heck is cryptocurrency from there? When I get into something, I go way too hard in it. And I spent a lot of time and I got really, really far to the point where, you know, the people who I were following, next thing you know, I'm on a cruise ship with them, right? That's just kind of how I roll when I get into something. Anyways, the point wasn't to brag about myself. The point was more that, totally lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Dang, I was going somewhere with that, and then I looked at the chat. Gets me every time. Tokenize everything. Yeah, I love that. It'll come back to me in a minute. Exactly, users base Coinbase makes it easy to onboard with new investors, and they have all the setup. If somebody would like to remind me what I was talking about, I would love to finish that thought, because I was going somewhere with that, and it's not coming back. So we're going to move on. The war is also exchanges versus sportsbooks versus regulators. So it's kind of like a three-way showdown, and it's going to be fun to watch. I think I know who's going to win. The regulators. Prediction market sits in an awkward place. They look like trading. They look like forecasting. They look like hedging. But they can also look like gambling. That is why regulators fight matter. Router reported that prediction markets let traders buy and sell binary yes or no contracts on an outcome range from foreign inventions, a football game, an election. While lawmakers have pushed for tougher rules and bans on some contracts they argue may be harmful or lack economic purpose. That's a fun one. They're like, this doesn't have any economic purpose. Sounds like something somebody would say while drinking out of like a gold cup. Axios reported, here's a story that we covered a tiny bit in the very beginning, that North Carolina proposed state budget could authorize CFTC regulated prediction markets, create a state level fight over whether markets should be treated more like federal regulated event contracts or state regulated gambling. They want that tax money. That is for sure. Doge was free money when I bought some. Only $100, made $700, but those who got that good entry made life-changing wealth. I assume you know the story of the Dogecoin millionaire. I do. I believe he's not a millionaire anymore. What I think is funny is the guy who created Doge sold all his Doge for like, I don't know, 34 grand. It wasn't even worth a lot. He created it. He had a lot of Doge, right? He sold it for like $34,000 and bought a car. I mean, it was like it's like if you launched a meme coin, I guess is the vibe. And then, you know, your coins were worth like 34 grand. So you exited it, rug pulled on them like that, even though it was a totally different environment back then. And there you go. That's what he did. And he just bought like a very modest car for $34,000. It was like a Honda, right? And, dude, he would have been multi-hundred millionaire, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, Polymarket, what they want: crypto, native events, markets, and global mind share. Kalshi wants regulated U.S. event contract market leadership. Hyperliquid wants on-chain outcome token trading infrastructure. Galaxy and institutions want over-the-counter access, hedging, liquidity, and large trades, right? They want to be able to put some serious dough into stuff. Sportsbooks protect sports betting territory. They don't want anybody stepping into that territory. Regulators, they want defined boundaries, risk control, and legal limits. And the funny thing about regulators is they're like, we want defined boundaries, but they're the ones who say what is the defined boundaries, and they will just argue with themselves forever while everybody sits around and being like, can we eat dinner yet? States control gambling policy and tax revenue. Unfortunately, so many good games that I love to play online gone because of state policy. Traders, liquidity, odds, edge, access, fast settlement. Prediction markets are becoming an institutional product, and it's just getting integrated into absolutely everything. Yeah, he round-tripped back to 200K, LOL. Hey, he's got 200K. I don't know what he started with. What did he buy with in the beginning? If you bought back in the day at like 0.002, you're still up, but you're not up like you were when it was at 75 cents. I mean, that goes without saying, but it slaps different when you actually went through it. Prediction markets are becoming an institutional product. Chris Goss in the house says 333, my fellow lifer. Welcome in. Chris Goss, I'd really like to get to know you more. You always show up, you always say something, you're very supportive, but I never get to really like talk to you. So maybe one day when you got a little bit of time, because I assume you're too busy, stop by and chat with us a little more. Prediction markets are becoming an institutional product. At first, prediction markets felt like internet native retail speculation, but institutions are starting to look at them a little bit different. Routers reported that Kalshi and Polymarkets are targeting financial institutions for the next phase of growth. Through liquidity, though liquidity is still, I keep looking back at the chat, don't do that. Though liquidity is still a major challenge, one market structure executive noted that some top Polymarket markets had only about 30 million of total liquidity, meaning large institution orders could swing prices sharply, letting the big boys play. This is important because it shows both sides. Institutions are interested, but the market may still be too thin for large money to access in many cases, kind of like trading. and people with a lot of money, you notice they don't trade small stuff. Because at their net worth, there's no meaningful gain, and they can move things around too much, and that's a lot of times not in their favor. Sometimes it definitely can be, but a lot of times it's not in their favor, right? And so they trade big things like Bitcoin and Ethereum because of how large their markets are. They don't have a lot of choices in crypto. Yeah, he put 200K at the lows, becoming a millionaire during that pump. He refused to sell. Yeah. I mean, in my defense, when I got into crypto, that was the first thing I ever bought. I don't even think I knew it was a crypto other than it was in a category called cryptocurrency, but I had no reference as to what that meant at all. But anyways, I didn't know anything about crypto at that time. I watched it go up. I was learning a lot about crypto, but nobody had said to me yet, hey, that 4-year cycle, there's going to be a bear market. Nobody ever said that. And I learned about the bear market in the bear market. Consolidation could turn prediction markets into acquisition targets. And that is what we call the price of tuition in cryptocurrency. Let me read that again. Consolidation could turn prediction markets into an acquisition target, right? This is how these wars usually go. Those who do the best with the most money buy their competitors, and they make one giant conglomerate. This is where the market war theme gets even stronger. CoinDesk reported that Bernstein and Kalshi and Polymarkets could become M&A targets as prediction market consolidation blurs the line between exchanges, brokerage, and sportsbook. That is the key. If prediction markets become big enough, they do not just compete with each other, they become attractive to crypto exchanges, brokerage, sportsbooks, traditional exchanges, financial data companies, media platforms, trading firms. Big takeaway here is that prediction markets may not stay the same standalone platforms forever. They may become features inside larger financial ecosystems, and there are prediction markets in a lot of places. Like Jupiter has prediction markets. Jupiter is just what? Mostly a wallet app for Solana. Solflare has prediction markets. Like, you see the integration everywhere, but then you have to ask yourself, is this just like you see a lot of time with decentralized exchanges? Like, they'll have a Hyperliquid integration, they'll have a different integration. Like, it's the same thing. Like, when you see Solflare or Jupiter, is that their own standalone product in prediction markets, or are they just integrating from another place like APIs? The risk is that prices can look smarter than they really are. Prediction markets often treated like wisdom of the crowd tool. That can be useful, but users should not treat markets as perfect truth. Price can be affected by low liquidity, whales, insider information manipulation, unclear market rules, biased trader bases, regulatory shocks, settlement disputes, and platform design. Pretty much the standard manipulation that you would be used to. Academic research comparing Bitcoin threshold contracts to Polymarket with options implied prices from Binance, found persistent price gaps, suggesting fragmentation and slow information transmission between the venues. And of course, just like maximal extractable value concept, somebody's going to take advantage of anywhere that they can, to be honest with you. And with AI and bots, they can do it at crazy speeds. And that matters because prediction market prices can be information without being perfect or up to date. Chris Goss 333, we locked in. Exactly. I hope everybody's enjoying the show today. This seemed like a big topic and a good one to dive into, but I didn't know how the reception was going to be from everybody. I don't know if people really care about it. The big picture, crypto warns. I'm sorry, guys. I can't read. The big picture, crypto wants to turn reality into markets. That is the big takeaway as we move towards the end of this IQ raising event. This is the main lesson for Tuesday. Today, tokenized stocks turn traditional assets into on-chain markets. Prediction markets turn future events into tradable markets, and that is why this belongs in the on-chain market war. Crypto is trying to build markets around anything that has price, probability, outcome, or information edge. The winner may not just be the platform with the most users. They may be the platform with the best liquidity, the clearest regulation, the strongest market design, the best settlements, deepest institutional access, bringing in that big money, the most trusted oracles, data feed, and resolution rates, the cleanest user experience, abstraction. Talk about that all the time. Final takeaway, prediction markets are exploding because they turn the future into a tradable asset. And now everybody wants control of that market. Should not surprise anybody. Back to the news. Rolling in 10:06, over an hour and a half streaming. Your boy shows up for you. We are at 2 super chats out of that 5. I appreciate you guys greatly for your support. Former Tether investment chief is reportedly looking into selling his stake. CoinDesk's latest news board showed that former Tether investor chief Richard Heathcote is reportedly working with PJT Partners to sell part of his 1.2% stake in the stablecoin issuer. And I'm sure even a 1.2% stake is a significant amount of money. And it sounds like he's not selling all of it, but just a piece of it. This matters because Tether remains one of the most profitable and systematically important companies in crypto without a doubt. Any secondary sale of insider equity would attract attention because it gives the market another way to think about Tether's private valuation. Binance launched a BTC covered call yield product. Not going to pretend I know what that is on face value. A covered call, okay, I can imply. Binance introduced BTC yield, a product for Bitcoin holders that use systematic covered call strategy. Users deposit BTC, receive an internal BTCY, like a wrapped coin position, and Binance sells BTC call options to generate option premiums. The product pays potential weekly BTC distributions and can also create or increase the BTC amount represented by each BTCY. So you're, I guess, looking to hold this longer term. Units over time. The important caveat, this is not risk-free yield. Covered calls can underperform if Bitcoin rallies hard and call options are exercised. When it comes to like call options and puts and stuff like that from traditional markets, I never really got big into it, but I do have some friends who do that quite a bit. Strike launched volatility-proof Bitcoin-backed loans. There's a concept. Jack Mallers, Strike launched a Bitcoin-backed lending product where falling Bitcoin prices do not trigger automatic liquidations as soon as borrowers keep making payments. Strike says that there are no margin calls or price-triggered liquidations, although collateral can still be partially liquidated if borrowers miss payments and fail to cure them within a grace period. I'm not gonna lie, Bitcoin loans and stuff sound risky. I mean, you just gotta have way more money than, I don't know, what you need to pay back. This is the big Bitcoin credit story. Bitcoin-backed lending is trying to come back with better risk structure than the 2022 crypto credit collapse. There you go. EDX Markets raised $76 million. Institutional crypto trading platform EDX Market raised $76 million in a Series C round led by SBI Holdings. This is another institutional market structure story. Crypto trading is moving towards models that look more like traditional finance: clearing, custody separation, risk management, and regulated infrastructure. Bonk DAO. Here we are. We finally made it to the Bonk DAO story that we pretty much already ran through. Let's see. Bonk DAO was drained of about 20 million. Is this why Stregahart's not here today? Where is Stregahart? I know he liked Bonk. That's for sure. He won $5, I think, twice. I think I paid him in Bonk both times. After an attacker spent roughly 4.4 million buying enough Bonk tokens to pass a malicious proposal. I think this is hilarious. How did they not think of this? How did they allow this to happen? It's not really funny, but you get why it could be funny. The attacker met the quorum threshold, pushed through a vote, and sent the treasury to a wallet they controlled. Bonk was down about 7% after attack. They must have been like very nice because they only took $20 million. And they had to spend $4.4 million to do it. So they weren't broke. Why didn't they just say the entirety of the entire treasury sent to this account? This is one of the biggest social stories today because it exposes a major weakness in token-based governance. If voters turnout is low, which especially in the bottom of a bear market it is, and quorum is cheap enough to buy, a treasury can be taken over legally on-chain by maliciously in practice. Legally on-chain, but maliciously in practice. Okay, I read that totally wrong. My whole thing is, if they buy $4.4 million in Bonk, and they do this and it doesn't work, they just sell the $4.4 million in Bonk, right? Like, what is the risk to them? The risk is that, I don't know, Bonk drops 50% while they're holding it, like, or something crazy like that. Zcash jumped as developers near a proof against hidden counterfeit bugs. There you go. Zcash rose more than 12% after Zcash developers said they are nearing a mathematical proof that the latest shielded pools do not contain certain undetected counterfeit bugs. This follows last month's disclosure that a critical flaw in Zcash Orchard shielded pool, which had sent Zcash down more than 40% in 2 days. And then we don't even really know if anybody ever exploited it. I don't know how they wouldn't have, but if AI found it and nobody else did, maybe everything was fine. Maybe they printed, like, here's the real caveat in my opinion. What if they printed a ton of Zcash and it's just sitting somewhere in a wallet and they're waiting for all of this to resolve itself, the positive story to come out, Zcash to pump, and what if like 3-4 years from now in a top of a bear market, they just sell an incredible amount of coins and just walk away with the majority of the liquidity in Zcash? That would be insane. So let's keep that in the back of our mind. Prime Minister says Struggle holds Bonk. Yeah, he absolutely does. Could have been an inside job. Many of these hacks in the past turn out to be insiders, but it's just my opinion. Oh, absolutely. I'm not like anti-devs because that would be dumb because they're just people who write things and make code. But most exploits and a lot of really bad things that have happened are people who, one, know how to do it, or two, were actually involved in the project and aware enough of things to do them, right? Because who else would be that deep into the like code of a project or a bridge, except for the people who literally are working on it and built it, right? Kraken won a $22 million arbitration against Mazars. Kraken's parent company, Payward, won $22 million. Okay, so this Payward is Kraken's parent company. Let's put that in the back of our mind here. That raises our crypto IQ a little bit. They won $22 million in arbitration award against auditor Mazars after Mazars allegedly abandoned a nearly completed audit during Operation Choke Point 2.0. Payward is asking the Delaware Court of Chancery to enter final judgment on the award. This keeps the debanking and Operation Choke Point 2.0 story alive. Kraken is using the win to push for the Clarity Act and clearer rules. So it couldn't have came at a better time. What a coincidence. The CFTC charged a North Carolina man over allegedly $14 million fraud. This Trevor guy in Argent Capital Management with fraud, alleging they swindled about 60 people out of $14 million through commodity pools that traded futures, options, and crypto. The agency says Vernon lost at least $8.6 million trading participants' money and misrepresented his performance. So he took people's money to do stuff with and he got rinsed. Bitcoin and XRP are drawing interest from the Japanese firms. Always XRP with the Japanese firms. This is not surprising here. CoinDesk's latest news board said that Bitcoin and XRP are drawing Japanese firms as the weak yen pushes corporate treasury diversification. SBI VC, venture capitalist Trade, said corporate demand for crypto is rising and its registered accounts passed 2 million. This fits the broader treasury trend. Companies are not only looking to hold Bitcoin in dollars. Weaker currency environment, crypto can be part of a corporate reserve diversification discussion. Absolutely. Gemini is pushing into stock trading. That should come as no surprise. Gemini, you don't hear a lot about, but they're there and they want a piece of the market. A Block Business News board showed Gemini offering 0% stock trading in the U.S. as tries to become an all-in-one financial super app. This is the move for anybody who has an app, basically. Crypto miners and AI infrastructure are still crossing over. I almost feel like this news segment needs to be like its own show. How are you guys doing out there? We've been going through a lot. Prime Minister says, UG exactly on point with Zcash. No one knows if the coins were already minted. You're smarter. You're smart, man. You caught on to that fast. Hey, I appreciate you. It's because I raise my crypto IQ daily. And I appreciate you always being here, Prime Minister, and having a lot to say, being so in with what's going on. Zcash uses shielded pools for privacy, and the bug was in the shielded tech stack. There you go. They could have got those coins ages ago and no one would know. And exactly, you let enough time go by with Zcash and then we get this crazy dump. There will be some people who figure it out, but it won't matter and everybody's guard will be down and they'll get a lot of people's money. And for that reason, I don't think I'm going to put any money into Zcash. Fortunately, I already didn't have any money in Zcash, so I'm kind of covered there. But if I did, I would be looking for an exit. Crypto miners and AI infrastructure are still crossing over. So the Block's business new board Galaxy delivering 133 megawatts of critical IT load to CoreWeave as Helios Bitcoin mine turns into an AI infrastructured hub, as also highlighted Berenstein maintaining a bullish TeraWulf target after major Anthropic release. What a sentence. What a sentence that was. I'm going to do it again just because it was almost fun. The Block's business news board highlighted Galaxy delivering 133 MW, I think megawatts, of critical IT load to CoreWeave as Helios Bitcoin mine turns into an AI infrastructured hub, and also highlighted Berenstein maintaining a bullish TeraWulf target for a major Anthropic release. If that one didn't make your head spin, then you are not as tired as I am. And what's trending socially is the Bitcoin bounce real. So deep and well thought out. That's the narrative. Is the Bitcoin bounce real? ETF flows. Back to ETF flows. Speaking of that, let's jump over to Blockworks, because I'm sure the news has got you all riled up. Yeah, Zcash is... hey, avoid it. You can get me taken off of YouTube here. All right, Blockworks, top losers, top gainers. Let's come back to crypto for a second and refresh, because this is not... I think that's yesterday's stuff. I like how crypto bubbles just like updates itself every like minute. And I wish Blockworks would do the same thing, but they got a lot of data, so I can understand why they're not doing that on computer screens nobody's looking at. MemeCore up 11%, back to $1.37. It's been holding up well, and we haven't seen a lot more volatility to the downside, although we could. Are we going to get back above $2 for MemeCore? Is my purchase of $100 worth of MemeCore, I don't know, around like $1.13, I think. I'm going off of memory, and that can be dangerous, but it's usually pretty good. Gonna be a good purchase, or am I gonna be able to buy a lot more lower? I don't know. I really want to do another deep dive of MemeCore. Lido, DAO, Ape, Coin, Zcash, Zebek Network, Sun Token, and Tezos, all in the top gainers. Not anything all that big. When your top gainer of the day is 11%, you go to the top losers. Grass, 25%. I don't really know why Grass is dumping. I didn't really see any stories or FUD. They are paying out some money, but it's very little compared to how long people have been mining. It's just nice to see they're paying out. They're paying out in USDC. I don't know why they would do that out of the market cap of Grass. That makes no sense. If they were going to do that, they would just give people Grass. I think that they were paying out in USDC because they didn't want people to just get paid in grass and then start dumping it, which is highly responsible. I hope that was the thinking and the reasoning. I'm giving them points where I don't know if they really deserve them, but I'm hoping that was their thinking here. XPL, or Plasma, right, is down 12%, almost 13%. Kite Sync, pretty sure that's Kite AI, and they just keep rebranding themselves. I don't know if that's a good thing. Fartcoin, Ether.fi, and Buildon. Buildon down 10% again today. Buildon was getting crushed. Matter of fact, let's look at Buildon real quick and just think, is it a good coin that probably going to bounce? That's basically the whole question here. It's not, is it a great project? It's in the World Liberty Finance. They're built around building with the World Liberty USD1, which is a stable coin of the World Liberty Finance token. And they're building on it. That's why they're called Build On. That felt like a lot to walk through, but it wasn't. So maybe I'm just tired. It's down quite a bit. Let's go to the year. I mean, you expect everything on the year to be down quite a bit. It's actually not that bad. It's back to some pretty normal support here. Let's open it in trading view. And let's put it on, like, the weekly sounds reasonable. And let's maybe entertain a support line or two here. I just noticed that this thing does have a tendency to sometimes pump pretty hard. So support target, like 12 cents, a high 12 cents. So you see this thing hit like maybe 13 cents, 12 and a half cents. Could be a good place to get in if you're looking for, you know, a recovery. And look, it started to fall, and then I knew it had a big pump. It's so crazy how crypto works. Look, you were down here doing nothing. You got a pump. It started to sell off. These are weak candles. In the second week of the sell-off, it decided to set an all-new time high for some reason, and then proceeded to go back down to support. But the fact that it had this willingness to go higher than it had ever gone before, let's see what that is. Oh, come on now, cooperate. All-time high 76 cents, and it's trading at 12. You put a 2x leverage, 3x, 5x, 10x leverage behind that, and you could rack it up. Never financial advice. You do what you want with your own money. If somebody said something like that and then you went all in and got yourself wrecked, you just learned a valuable lesson, and it's not my fault that you do random stuff that are very slightly suggested on the internet. I'm looking for, it's got to be here, price range. That's what I'm looking for. After I already messed up my chart. Oh no, I didn't. There we go. So to get back to, and you could be conservative for it, where your high is like up over here. It's a 413, 412%. Timing would be everything here. But it's very interesting, and it is kind of a staple of the World Liberty Finance infrastructure. So you do with that what you want. We're always trying to dig and dive and look at some interesting things. Let's go to Analytics Dashboard, ETF Tracker. Let's go look at that ETF Tracker. We're only really going to get information for yesterday. We're not going to get it for today. I don't usually go to it that way, so let's go to it how we normally would go to it. Here's your revenue. We're not going to look at revenue today. Let's look at markets, crypto ETF, right? Because when I clicked ETF Tracker, that's like all ETFs, not just crypto. And inflow, looking decent. Wow. You can see a lot of outflows. And I've noticed that, you know, it looks very different a little bit. If you get rid of all of them, and you'll get like BTC. But get rid of BTC, go look at like XRP. Paints a very different story. A lot of money flowing into XRP ETFs. And then we start getting stories about like, oh, you know, Japanese institutions and stuff are wanting to hold things like XRP and Bitcoin. There you go. maybe there's something to that. $230.5 million yesterday flowing into BTC ETF. I can't say enough good things about Blockworks, man. It is a lot of fun. If you like data and information, I'll say that the more I've raised my crypto IQ, the more I've found that I like stuff like this. Before I ever did this show, if you would have showed me this, I would have probably been like information overload, and I probably would have ran away. Let's see. Prime Minister says they gave dust airdrops to people who gave them free bandwidth. I'm done with them, and Solana mobile community is too. I'm pretty much with you on that. I'm probably going to grab my $13, and I'm probably going to get the heck out of there. And that's just what happens. I don't know if maybe they're going to do some nicer stuff later down the line, but I don't know. You gave them bandwidth, and they were... I'm sure they made a bunch of money. I'm sure they sold it to people who needed the resources for AI. I'm sure the grass made itself a ridiculous amount of money compared to like maybe what they put into it. And my allocation is $13. Don't know why. I think it's mostly because I got in pretty early. I have 4 referrals. Are we still here? Drop a 111 in the chat if we're still here. Okay. I just saw that we got disconnected from OBS, right? Okay, we reconnected. Successful. That's good to hear. Shout out again to 007 Zoe for his $2 super chat. He was trying to get us to our super chat goal today. And I appreciate him. Even if we don't hit it, it's still duly noted his support. And of course, a $4.99 super chat from Melissa. Super appreciated. Thank you very much for all you do and all your support. That keeps me going and keeps me doing the stream. I don't know if you can hear my dog is tripping over here. Lay down. You guys know if you have a dog, when they get into something and decide that something's on the other side of the door and they need it, they do not stop. Cryptic Quentin, respect. Dropping that respect emoji. And shout out to all the undergrounders. It's been some bear market vibes, right? That wasn't what I meant to go to at all. I meant to go to Chainers. Chainers is usually where we enter into that underground hangout. We're rolling into 2 hours. Pretty much 2-hour stream every night is pretty consistent. That's what it takes to really get through the sauce. I could trim things out and have a smaller show. I don't know if a lot of people would like that. I think there'd be a lot less value there. Wouldn't run through the news, which sometimes we don't do the news. If you guys like the news segment, let me know, because there are days that I just honestly forget to do it. I always have it up. I just blank on it and the show's over and I'm like, dang. Like, I kind of wanted to know what the news stories were for the day. Kind of considering doing a live where I just do news stories. Don't know if anybody will care about it at this time in the market, but it's probably a good time to start. It'd be like a, 12 o'clock noon or something kind of stream. Oh, yeah, we were supposed to go. Prime Minister says, check out Godel Protocol when you get time, UG. I will. If you could even message that to me, it'd be really good, because when I end the stream, I won't have the chat. Cool solve mining protocol with good liquidity, trustworthy devs too that I personally know. Wow. It's pretty cool, Prime Minister. I'll definitely take a look at it, and I actually still plan on making a wallet with that other project and maybe even scooping a little bit of it just to take a small shot on it. But I'd like to get into that a little bit more, that Salvium. If they get that MiCA compliance in Europe, definitely let me know, because that'd be worth knowing. I'm sure you will. And this is Chainers, link in the description. Just a fun little way to get some free BNB or Polymarket. That's what I usually grab. CFB is the in-game currency, which I'm going to get like 50 cents of right here. I'll take it. Speaking of prediction markets, UFC 329 this weekend. There you go. We got Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. He hasn't fought since he broke his leg, right? Who you guys betting on? Cryptic Quentin, are you betting on it? It says tempting. Holloway, I think, could beat Conor McGregor. I don't know what state Conor McGregor is in. He's been out a while, so he could be healed. He's got money, so he can have the finest doctors and he can have the best checkups to make sure that he's actually in good shape. A lot of time when bone breaks, it heals stronger than before. So I would not expect him to like break his leg in the ring again, although it could happen, especially if his opponent is brutal and decides, hey, I'm going to target his leg and I'm going to kick it right where he broke it a lot of times. That would be crazy. But I don't think it's illegal for UFC, right? Anyways, I don't know. If you think it's rigged, then Conor McGregor should win. I know a lot of people on their conspiracies. But if it is rigged, then I think Conor McGregor should win. And if he does win, that doesn't mean it's rigged either. We have no idea. Hard to play this game and read the chat, but I want my free item. I want my free farm item. And I want it now. It's mine. Alright, what do we got? Holloway seems logical. Yep, Holloway is best. Conor McGregor, OG now. Yeah, he is. Is he past his prime? Was him breaking his leg the end of his career? I kind of feel like it is. And then he went like all political vigilante for Ireland, which, I mean, I totally get. And I would say I agree with him, but I don't really actually know what he says. The main policy of like having a problem with immigration in Ireland and it being a problem, I mean, I don't know how you could argue that it's not a problem, but I don't know what he actually says or how far he goes. He's one of those people that sometimes I could see him going too far. But who knows? I don't know why I'm giving a bunch of disclaimer. Like, anybody would be upset. They'd be like, you hear what Underground said yesterday about Conor McGregor's policy? Yeah, nobody's doing that. We ain't that big yet. Maybe one day. I find the best way to have success is just never give up and just keep going. But also, if you never get success, then you might feel like, wow, I wasted a lot of time. So those are fun conundrums to mull over. Come on, I'm not letting you guys get me. Just need to get to 1,000 and then I can just get my free item and get the heck off of this. All right, I'm going in. All right, we made it to 1,000. Give me my free item. Of course, this is like when you hit 1,000, it's when the game picks up and you can just kind of rampage, which is kind of fun. But I can't read the chat. So let's see what free item we get. Cryptic, this might be an easy win. I may bet on this, but like UG said, hopefully it's not rigged to Conor's favor. Yeah, because if Conor loses, how can he have like a big comeback tour? And you can't deny that he brings a lot of people, a lot of controversy, a lot of attention. It's an attention economy, and he's a good showsman. He's a good showman. And that almost matters more than friggin' anything. The fight almost becomes irrelevant because you got to think the fight happened in what, like less than 20 minutes if they go all the way to the rounds, depending on if it's a title fight or not, where the hype and like the merch sales, ticket sales, like everything leading up to it, that goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. A lot more money being made there than, you know, in that 20-minute fight. It almost doesn't matter who wins at that point. They already got their money. You already bought a ticket. You already bought pay-per-view or merchandise, even though I know they don't do pay-per-view anymore. But you get my point. Yep. Yeah, Polymarket. Okay, looks like I'm into this. There you go. Would be a lot of fun to stream that live. Do we do UFC like Fight Night Watch in the voice channel on Discord? Even if we don't do like the entire thing, like we'll start it like, you know, the fight 1 or 2 before Connor's fight, you know, hang out and all chat. That would be pretty fun. I don't know what day it's going to be. It might be literally during the stream. It wouldn't be the first time that we kind of watched it even during the stream. It says, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it sounds like fun to me. Somebody tell me what time and day it is so I can be ready. I'll try to look it up myself. I don't want to always rely on you guys for everything like that, but it sure is helpful having a network of people. Roller coin. Hit a round of that, keep my stuff going, and I'm pretty much going to hop off. That was the show for tonight. You know what it is. I appreciate everybody's attendance and willingness to raise that crypto IQ. I love that we have people here who specialize in different things. Shout out to Double O Zo, who I know is watching from his TV, is not in the chat, but shout out to you. Shout out to Melissa. Thank you for the super chats. I'll say it again because it does mean the world to me, even if it's not about the money, but the support helps me believe that one day I'll be able to do this full time. How about that? Keeps me highly motivated and feeling like people do like what I'm doing. Because when you got a super chat feature and you go on for, I don't know, a week and nobody even says thank you or drops your super chat, it makes you wonder, like. And then we even had some pretty regular people who were coming to the stream for long periods of time, and then they'll disappear on me for months. And not that anybody owes me anything, because that is not what I'm saying. I do wonder where they went, and I wonder why they went. Did something in their life change, like their schedule, which is what's going on with Blues Guy. If anybody's wondering, his schedule's different. He doesn't work the same times. It makes it hard for him to be here. Makes it impossible because he's still at work. But anyways, I miss people when they're not here. We really are an underground crypto family. Just thank you for everybody's attendance. Whether you have the capability to send a super chat or not, doesn't really matter. I'd prefer you come and show up, say what's up more than anything, and learn and grow with us. And I think the dividends that are gonna come in when we actually get out of this bear market or put in a bottom are gonna be really, really high. There's gonna be some crazy exciting points of these streams when we're pumping. Bull market is in full swing, and we've raised our crypto IQ and sharpened ourselves. I think it's going to allow us to really make some good moves. That is the dream. That is the goal. Oh, there's Double O Zo. What's up? Says, yes, sir, 100. Money is a little tight right now, but I'll continue to support via membership. Thanks, Cryptic Quentin. And it's not about money. Like, don't ever think it's about money. It's tough for me to catch the stream every night. I do understand that, too, so I appreciate it when you're here. Says no sound. Huh. It might be on your end. All my sound seems like it is working. Your mic. Interesting. Let's see. Mic should be working. Okay. Mic working for me now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it would randomly cut out. Everything on my side says it's working. Mic working for me. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Very interesting. I can't even hear me on my own phone. All right, guys. Well, I was about to say goodbye anyways, so I'd love to sit on here for hours, but I do got a few other things I got to do for the business. You know how it goes. So stay underground, stay crypto. Sound working for me. I appreciate everybody being so quick at the end of a show to let me know. So funny. I'm the only one who can't hear on my own phone is not giving me any mic. Oh, that's because it's plugged in? I don't know. Anyways, I digress. I won't say it 100 times. Stay underground, stay crypto. I'll catch you in the next one. Another stream tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. New York time. You know how it goes. Over a 2-hour stream. putting in the work for you guys. Let's continue to grow this community so we have a bunch of people to share all of this great stuff when this bull market really kicks off. We're going to be sharp. Iron sharpens iron, and we're going to have that IQ, crypto IQ through the roof when things start really kicking. Have a good night, everybody. Melissa, 00 Zoe, Cryptic Quentin, Prime Minister. Who am I missing here? Of course, Chris Goss. I think that's everybody for tonight. And Camsta, of course. Shout out all my people. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. Underground Crypto out.